night. It's 9 o'clock. At least in the good time zone, it's 9 o'clock, the only one that matters. But
Texas time zone, right?
Yeah, what's
Central
that?
time.
Texas time zone, right?
Mm-hmm. Texas, yeah. Central time zone is the only time zone that matters. That's why we're in the center of it all. So anyway, it is time for the Get Off My Lawn podcast, and welcome everybody. We are very happy to have you. We've got some extra faces out there tonight in the panel. We've got some extra names that I don't get to see every week over there in the live chat already. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now live, well, if you're watching this, you're watching it on YouTube right now. But if you're out there right now while we're live, then go ahead and drop a comment down there in the live chat section so we can see that you're here and we can say hello to you. And if you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and drop those comments down below because we want to know that you came by and watched it even after the fact. So real quick here, we're going to let's just see who we've got already out there in the chat. We started off with Kingpin. Mystic Guns is out there. Frankie's Guns and Glitter. Frankie, you stayed up. That was awesome. Thank you. She's normally asleep by this time, she said. Sandhills Sweetheart is out there. And, of course, she's sitting just off the camera in the producer's seat right there. Who else do we have out there tonight? Calaveras. We've got the Tactical Pickle. We've got Toni out there and in here. We've got Armament and Axes. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. Who else is out there? Is it K Wade 1957?
Yes.
I hope it's K Wade and it's not. I'm not butchering somebody's name. You know that?
Who that is? K Dub.
Yeah.
K Dub. All right. Lori is out there, and Carolina EDC reviews. Casey Whitworth, C4 Defense. What's up, Sarge? Tim Donahue, G23, Darcy Sorensen. Boy, we've got a lot of people jumping in here. Agorizer, Rich White, Duke Liberty in the house. Gizzard Gary. We've got a lot of you out there. So Gun Loving Grandpa. All right, I'm going to quit naming names because they keep coming in. The cool thing is, for those of you
watching,
for those of you who aren't yet aware, your names are getting written down by my lovely bride, and we go through at the end of the night and just read off the whole list of everybody that made comments so that we don't miss anybody. Like I said, leave those comments. We want to know that you're out there. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, go ahead and hit that as well for us if you would. And share the link, copy and paste it, do whatever you got to do. Hit that share button if you're on your phone. But let everybody else know that this is going on because we've got a very fun, cool night. Honestly, I have no idea what we're going to talk about because I was going to sit down and write out a list of questions. And I didn't because that's what procrastinators do. So we're just going to wing this and see how it goes and kind of see what happens. But you notice we don't have as many people in here tonight because we've got a very special guest or a pair of very special guests. And I kind of wanted to limit the panelists to people that actually know these guests. So for those of you who recognize these faces, rock on. And for those of you who have not yet seen these faces, then we're going to tell you who these folks are. First and foremost, let's introduce a couple of these usual suspects. We've got both of them now. This is kind of cool. I get to say both of you are coming from the capital city. You're not even halfway across the state anymore. But first off, we've got Travis P11 holding it down from the guest room / studio.
Hey, what's going on? This is Travis P11. Cheap plug as usual. Check out my YouTube channel, Travis P11, and my Monday night podcast called Caliber Corner, where we talk guns, 6 o'clock Central Time. So appreciate the invite, and it's awesome to have Party Foul Steve here this evening, Sandhills. Thanks for getting this up together, man.
Yeah, you betcha.
Cool.
Thanks for being here. And then also right across town from Travis, we've got Defense Dad coming in from Lincoln as well.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
You betcha. Thanks. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, yeah, if you get a chance, check out my channel. Finally got moved and all settled, so I put a few new videos out there and starting to have a little more fun. And I only have one screen tonight, so if anybody has any questions on the chat, I can't see them.
Actually, you should be able to in StreamYard. We're on the right-hand side. Click on the live chat or the live comments. I'm not sure what it's called on yours, but you should be able to see the YouTube comments as they come through too.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like out there, Sarge was wanting to know if this counts. Is this? I think that's the link to this podcast. So thanks for sharing that on this podcast, Sarge. We just lost. Defense Dad will be back. We'll get him back in here. But all right. So for those of you who are waiting to see who these special guests are, if you have been on the Party Foul Nation YouTube channel, there's Shane back. If you've been on the Chad Prather YouTube channel, and if you don't know who Chad Prather is, he's the political cowboy on all the social media. He sits in his pickup, talks, a mile a minute for a couple minutes straight in his cowboy hat, dogs in the back seat. You've probably seen him and didn't know what his name was, but he's got a podcast. He's been doing it for a while now. And I don't think I've ever seen an episode of the Chad Prather Show where we didn't have Party Foul Steve in there somewhere.
Well,
have you missed any?
I have missed one or two, but I don't allow that very often. I'm a narcissist. I was born that way. I can't help that. I want to be in the center of attention, and I try to guide and direct him in every way that I can and keep him under control.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yes, our guests tonight are Party Foul Steve, and then his wife Toni as well is with him tonight. So you can go to Party Foul Nation and check out all the cool stuff that they're doing, building that channel up. But you guys, you're sitting just like this normally on a Monday night, and then you've got a lot of stuff going on. So real quick here, why don't you just give me the rundown of all the stuff, all the places people can find one or both of you throughout the week right now?
Oh, that's a big deal.
I know it is. Go ahead.
Let's start with Monday. We can start with Monday night. That's an easy one because it's her and I, just like this, and we do an hour every Monday night, and it's kind of one of those deals. We needed something on Monday nights, and we just kind of need to fill that gap of something. And we were able to sit down and have a conversation after I convinced her to come on with me one time, and now she can't get enough of it. So every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, we sit down and talk for an hour.
Okay, first of all, you did not convince me. You basically said, come sit down. Oh, we're going live, by the way. Click.
Well, okay. That being said, our YouTube channel had 0 women watching it. And I'm like, how are we going to, I'm pretty, but I needed some help. I needed some, a woman's voice. So I'm like,
so you chose this one?
So I chose hers. I think it's a blessing and a curse, but it has brought a lot to our channel. And it's also brought a lot to our relationship, especially during this COVID thing. We've been married 20 years, but to sit down and talk in front of people and just kind of put everything out there, your entire life out there for everybody to watch and listen to, and them to get a kick out of it and laugh with us and cut up. So that's Monday nights in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So let me see. I'm a cigar connoisseur. Now, I don't know if I'm a rookie. I don't know a lot about cigars. I know very little. I know where the cigar shop is. And so we decided for a Tuesday night, let's do a cigar show with our friends. And I need to jump forward to Friday, and then we're going to come back. Okay.
All right.
And the reason I need to jump to Friday is
because it's about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Shut up. Yes. Okay. So about a year ago, Matlock from Lock and Load, Matlock Show, Mojo, all that kind of stuff. Y'all, he's kind of one of those Midwest guys. Where's he from? Like, somewhere up there.
One of the M states.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Isn't he from Indiana?
Indiana.
Yeah,
maybe,
one of those.
something.
Oh, yeah. The Colts. Yeah, he's a Colts fan.
He's a Colts fan. We'll forgive him. But he asked me, he said, dude, I used to do this show called Beer for Breakfast. And I would love for you to come on and co-host it. And I was like, well, I don't know, maybe. And so anyway, he said, just come do it a couple of times, see how you like it. So we changed the name to Beer for Brunch. We put it on podcast. We, as the downloads just started increasing weekly of us sitting, 2 guys drinking beer, talking life, just bullshitting for, I can say that, right?
Well, yeah, we'll let it go this time.
BSing, sorry.
It's all good.
We sit around BSing for an hour, and that just started growing and growing. And everyone said, we want to see what you're doing. So the next thing was in January, late December, we put it on YouTube. And that's when we kind of, decided, well, if this is going to be on YouTube, let's give them some content. And so we started building the shows out and going, okay, this is what we want to do on Monday night. And of course it was Toni and I. Then the Tuesday night, the cigar show. And then we have a musician friend that's a great cook, like on the pellet grill and all that kind of stuff. And he said, man, I want to do a show on there, a cooking show. And I'm like, well, welcome aboard. You have to make your own videos. Just send it to Matt Locke. He'll do the rest. So he did that. And at this point, we were still not very many women watching the channel. We're like, man, we got to get that. We want that demographic. And so 3 weeks ago, we started whining women. And we don't mean whining like in crying. We mean whining like in that big tall glass she's drinking right there. And it just blew up as far as the number of women. We're about, I want to say we're about 80% men, 20% women on the channel.
No, it was 70-30.
Oh, 70-30. I've been corrected. So that
Only because
took
you
care of
told me.
Thursday. Now that takes care of Party Foul Nation YouTube channel. So that kind of clues you in on what's all going on there. But for the past 2.5, 3 years, I've been on the Chad Prather Show as his sidekick and co-host, where I don't say a lot. I get to do a lot of listen and throw the one-liners and kind of take especially when we get into the serious topics, I kind of usually throw in that thing that kind of softens it up and everybody gets a chuckle and
the groaner.
Yeah, the groaner. They go, oh, I can't believe he just said that. And then it's crazy, the messages. I get more messages that say, dude, you said exactly what I was thinking. And I'm like, that was like the dumbest thing I could come up with. We have bugs. We're in our garage, and I have the big bright light on us, and we have giant June bugs this time of year, so they're flying through.
And attacking.
Yeah.
They're swarming.
So Monday through Thursday, you can catch me sitting over at the Party Foul Pub in the Blaze studio, being the sidekick and co-host on that show. Now, we have another co-host, and she's just a former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, Natalie Stanier.
She's
nobody's watching it because she's on there. It's all just because of you. We know.
Never. No,
She ain't hard.
I watch for her.
Yeah, even the women watch for her.
That's because she may be a former cheerleader, but she's still the smartest person in that room, I'm pretty sure. So
probably
it's a toss-up between her and Candace.
Oh yeah,
I would go with that. Yeah,
producer of that show, which is and that show is just, I mean, we have a lot of fun on it. We just it's common sense, a little politics mixed with common sense, and that's the biggest deal right there. Is and keeping it real and as real as we can be. And that's when we started doing our YouTube channel, I just want to be able to, if you're sitting down watching her and I on a Monday night, I want you to feel like you're in the room with us, sipping on a drink or eating supper or whatever you're doing. We want you to do it with us and feel like you're sitting at the table with us.
You know, and that's to be totally honest. I mean, watching the Chad Prather Show has, and I started watching those on YouTube when there was probably, like I said, I think it was in the 20s. There was between 20 and 30 of them out. So it hadn't been on the YouTube version of it for very long when I first caught up with you guys, and just seeing everything that you all do on that podcast has really kind of influenced a lot of how I wanted to be as a host on this one. Mm-hmm. We've rebranded. We used to be 2A Tuesday, but I wanted to branch out and talk about things that weren't only guns. I know the name of the channel is Sandhills Shooter, but it's not just guns. That's not the only thing that's important to me, and that's not the only thing that's important to my wife, and it's not the only thing that's important to most of the gun people that I know. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to have discussions about a lot of different things, and so we rebranded it Get Off My Lawn podcast, because I've always said, you know, I'm becoming a grumpy old man at a very fast rate.
I'm that guy. She's that woman.
I've told my wife for several years now that at the rate I'm becoming a grumpy old man, number one, I don't know if she's going to be able to deal with me, you know, in 20 years or so. But I've always said I'm only about 2 more stupid people away from get off my lawn. So I thought, what the heck? That kind of has been like
sign up.
Yeah, that was one of the things that caught my attention about your podcast was the name. I'm like, get off my lawn. And then, you know, when I started, you know, doing the research and looking into it, and I was like, no, this is right along my line of thinking on some stuff.
Heck yeah. And then shortly after I rebranded it, I had a couple trolls that are like, there's already a get off my lawn. It's who the heck is it? Gavin McInnes or somebody has that podcast. I'm like, I tell you what, if if mine gets big enough that he knows who I am and tells me to change the name, I'll do it. But until that happens, get off my lawn. Leave me alone.
The lawsuit will bring you some publicity. It'll be a good thing, Sandhills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There's
there's
more subs.
I watched him get kicked out of CPAC this year. So I was there when they were
Really?
him. Yeah.
Man,
So that's
I didn't hear about that. I'll have to
go back and look at that.
look that up and see what that's about. Yeah.
They try to run everybody out of there.
No, since then I've actually tried to find, my own kind of unofficial co-host. So, I was telling Travis here, I think it was earlier today, that he's kind of like my party foul Steve in a way, because Travis has missed this twice. And one of them was because it was his anniversary, and one of them was some other family thing was happening.
It's because I was moving. I was on the interstate. We didn't think it'd be safe if I try to co-host while I'm trying to dodge cars at 80 miles an hour.
And see, that's a risk I was willing to take.
And an 18-year-old SUV with no ABS, it's probably smarter things I could be doing. So,
I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't have been the most crazy person on the road that day either, had you been. I've done not mine. I've done live podcasts. I've done yours driving down the road. It's never been an issue.
Interstate 80 is different than that 55 mile an hour old country road that you take when you do your.
Quit it! Interstate 80 across Nebraska is nothing compared to what Steve drives just to get to work.
Oh no, not at all. No. Driving through Dallas pretty much gets you that, or driving through Atlanta pretty much gets you prepared for life in NASCAR.
Yeah,
I think that's
I've never driven through. I have driven in Fort Worth, but not in Dallas. I've been to Fort Worth. I have not been to Dallas. I had some
the drive between both cities is very thrilling for Nebraska, and that's all I got to say. People see your license plate, they move the hell out of the way because they're scared they're going to run into you because you're going the speed limit. All right,
unless there's snow on the ground, and then the Nebraska plates are the only ones.
Then we're the ones that are out. Yeah, we're the because we are the ones with 4-wheel drive. Yeah,
I'm a 45-minute drive to the Las Colinas to Blaze Studio, and during this time.
I was going to say during the essentials versus non-essentials.
And I love this because there's no, and it's the new speed limit's 90, 95. And when everything comes back, I know it's going to go back to being an hour and a half drive for, at 50 miles an hour, and you stop 10 times for all the wrecks.
Yep. That's just nuts. I mean, in Nebraska, where I came from, which is the north central part, if you look at my logo, it's where that star is in my logo. That is almost exactly where I came from. It's actually closer to the state line than that. But out there, driving an hour and a half is nothing because everything's an hour and a half away anyway. The towns aren't that close. I mean, 2.5 hours from the town where I live now to where my dad is, where I grew up. And this is still the closest Walmart. So, I mean, driving down here, every now and then wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, it's a day trip. You run to Norfolk and hit Walmart, Menards, and all that stuff and get home. But we're used to that kind of a drive. But we're actually talking about going, 150 miles, not 10 miles in that hour and a half. So, yeah, that's craziness. So I got a couple questions that I did kind of think of a little bit. First off, I told you I was going to tell you this story. I know you don't remember this because a lot of people come through those live shows every night, and you obviously don't remember people. But we actually hopefully we weren't that memorable.
Okay. Security.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, my wife bought a T-shirt from you. They're in Omaha at the Funny Bone last September. I posted some pictures up on my Facebook page of us not with you. You were still busy, selling the merchandise, but with the other 4 yahoos that were on the stage, and then my wife and me, we got that cool picture, and I actually gave Chad one of my logo stickers and told him that I've got a podcast, and it's mostly and not mostly, but he's a huge influence on it, so. I'm sure he stuck it in his billfold and put it back in his pocket. And I'm sure that night it probably went in the trash, but it was cool of him to at least take that. And, he was cool about it. So
I wouldn't doubt for a second that he doesn't tune in tonight and watch a little bit of you tonight, because he does follow everything and supports everything that I've done and am doing all the time.
Very cool. Very cool. Chad, if you're out there, drop us a comment, at least say hi to us. And if you catch this on the replay, then drop a comment down below. I want to know that you did see some of it. So, and thanks for influencing me. But So that was pretty cool. I got a couple questions here. The first one is everybody's going to want to know where the name Party Foul came from. So is there a story there, or is it one you can tell?
What specific party foul was it? Yeah.
I was going to say there's not one single story that I can tell.
His entire life as a party foul.
I think my entire, but I would say, y'all from Nebraska. Y'all have anybody that raises racing greyhounds up there?
Not in this part of the state, but there is a dog track in Omaha.
Okay, I knew there was a dog track up there, but many years ago, I used to raise racing greyhounds, and name one of the dogs Party Foul. Her brother said, "You need to name a dog Party Foul after this song." That was by an artist down here, and so I did. Well, that racing dog became #1 in the United States in its distance for about a week, and
cool.
And so anyway, I got written up in a couple of articles and a couple of magazines in the National Greyhound Review, that kind of thing. And, because, Party Foul the dog was the thing for a week or so. And after that, I would go, when I'm dealing in the dog business and stuff like that, I go, oh yeah, Party Foul. And before you know it, kind of catches on, and you add that along with little vodka and orange juice or Jameson whiskey and stuff like that. And there's plenty of other Party Foul stories to tell.
Yeah, I've gotten that impression too, but I didn't know if it was just that or
it's a multitude of things. But there's a reason why her brother wanted to name the dog Party Foul.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, so you've done a lot of things then over your years. I mean, the few things that I know of, I know that you've been a nurse. I know that you are a Marine. I know that you are all the stuff that you're doing right now as far as media goes and things like that. Dog trainer, we can add to that now.
4 years in the Marine Corps. Worked offshore on drilling rigs for a few years, and then sometime shortly after I met her 20 years ago, I just decided to go to nursing school, and I did all the prerequisites for it, and came home and told her, I said, I don't want to be a nurse.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I have no idea. So anyway, I went up and I became a surgical technologist, worked in the operating room for several years. And I couldn't stand it. Came home and said, I don't want to do this at all anymore.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Is that the basic short story of it?
That is definitely the best abridged version
of
the story. That left out, yeah.
I leave out a lot in there, but it's.
But that's the Cliff Note version.
I don't have I'm
discipline?
ADD.
You don't have the
bounce
discipline.
off the wall. I don't have the discipline. I'm like.
You are not ADD.
I'm ready to do whatever, but I'm a hustler. I will do whatever needs to be done to feed my family, take care of my family, and have always managed and always done it. Don't tell me I can't do something, because I will set my mind to it and I'll go do it.
I've actually, we've had a lot of people come through the podcast over the last year and a half, 2 years now, that that's kind of their, I guess the one thing that is common to all the guests that we've ever had is, hey, if you tell me I can't do it, then I'm going to show you that I can. I'm going to make this happen. So, we've had some very, very interesting and a pretty diverse group of people, even within just mostly within the 2A community, which is a community that you are part of. I mean, this isn't just hey, look, I got a guy that's on this other podcast on the show tonight. I mean, you're a gun owner. You are 100% pro gun, pro freedom, pro America. I mean, I know this about you. So,
100%.
As far as that, I mean, so the people that are gun people, the gun guys and the gun gals that are out there watching right now, I mean, are you like an actual gun guy, or you just have guns, or are you a nut like most of us?
I'm not a gun nut. I wouldn't call myself a gun nut. I have guns. I shoot guns. I go to the range regularly, and I say regularly. Normally under normal circumstances, weekly. At least once a week. I have a phenomenal gun range down here, Texas Gun Experience in Grapevine, Texas. That was just completed at the first of the year. and she's a better shot than I am. I will give her that.
That's pretty typical. The ladies usually. That's why we don't usually invite the ladies to the range, because they make us look like we can't shoot. So.
Yeah, well, I let her.
Hey.
I let her spend 4
You
hours.
let me?
I had her spend. How do you say that? She spent
figure
4
that out.
hours with Big Johnson gun and gun review guy that gave her a few pointers. And
A few?
yeah, he gave you a lot of pointers and just wipes me off the map as far as shooting. I'm supposed to be this big bad Marine that can shoot all this and that. Nope, not at all. I can hit the target. I can fire lethal shots, but I'm going to drop a few. She drops none.
That actually is going to be the case, I think, in our house pretty soon too. My wife's getting into shooting. And yeah, we have a friend who's an instructor, because I was smart enough to know I'm not the person to teach her how to shoot. So our instructor,
You
which
figured that out before or after you tried to teach her?
I don't think I ever tried to actually give you any instruction. Did I? Did I a little bit? Okay.
Take her out to the ranch at all?
She had shot a couple times with me, but as far as actually sitting down and saying, hey, here's all the stuff you need to know, and I also didn't have a whole, diverse number of guns for her to try and see what she liked. So we did, like I said, we met a friend who is no stranger to this channel. It's Trish Harold. She's president of the Nebraska Firearm Owners Association, which is kind of like our state level lobby group. They're the biggest lobby group I think we have in Nebraska, but they actually do stuff. They go to the Capitol regularly and testify, unlike the NRA. Who has no presence right now in Lincoln. But anyway, Trish is a great instructor, and she also, being a female, she knows how to relate things to a new female getting into guns, because she was one of those, as an adult, she didn't grow up, as a hardcore gun person. She got into it after she became, a widowed mother of 2, and she wanted to learn how to keep her family safe. So she's a great person to learn from. If you're in that Omaha area, look up Incendio Firearms Training and get a hold of Trish, or go find her at Omaha Gun Club. But she gave my wife some great pointers, and other than the vision issues that she's facing, I mean, she'd be out shooting me every week too, but she has a hard time being able to focus on the sights and everything to really even get a good sight picture. So I got to find somebody that knows better how to instruct her, because I don't even know what that's like. I don't even wear glasses. I can't imagine what she sees when she looks at the sights, because all I know is what I see. So I know better than to try and
for myself, I'm right-handed but left eye dominant.
That's only one of the issues we're overcoming.
Yeah,
my wife's that way too. It's tough.
She has
for the least blurry part.
She has double vision. She can't even focus right on the sights. She can't close only one eye. That doesn't help. And then she's cross-eye dominant. So that all of that rolls into the perfect storm of we're probably never going to do bullseye shooting, but at the same time, when I put up a 12-inch square target, she keeps all her shots inside that 12-inch square, which means anybody that tries to enforce their will over hers is going to be in for a very bad day. So
it can be done. Just so you know, my daughter's only got 80% or only got 20% vision in her left eye, and she's a pretty crack little shot. So with practice, you can do it.
It's totally doable. Yep. Before I forget, I want to throw out a thank you to Blitz. He dropped a super sticker there. So thanks for that, Blitz. We appreciate it.
That's actually how we found out that I had astigmatism, because he asked me, "Oh, well, where's the red dot?" And I said, "What red dot? There's like 4 of them." And he says, "Oh, you've got astigmatism. Oh, great. So are you telling me that I'm a good shot, and once I get this corrected, I'm going to be better?"
Yeah. So Big Johnson gets her shooting on red dot, and now she wants red dot on everything.
So
if it works, it works. And I mean, do it. We're maybe going to look into that here. Into that here too at some point.
I bought her a Glock 19 to start with, and I liked it so much that I bought her a Hellcat. And that was just recent, so I could inherit her.
So you can have the Glock.
There you go.
Yeah, we've actually gone through. We're on the second pistol too. We started with a full size Walther PPQ, and she's also, you know, being a new shooter, she's just not into even the recoil off of a 9mm. But luckily, and I don't even get paid to plug the place, but Omaha Gun Club has a great fleet of rentals. And so when we were in Omaha here a while back, we rented the 9mm Shield EZ. And it might, you know, that slide might rack smooth, but it does not shoot soft. The recoil on that it's snappier than a full size. It's just like I've got the regular Shield, and the recoil on the Shield EZ 9mm feels like the regular 9mm Shield to me. And it wasn't for her. She didn't care for that. So we switched over to the 380 version, and then she shot the whole box. And so that's the one that we bought then, was one of those. So that's what, now if we could just find 380 ammo, finding ammo right now is the hard part, because we actually bought that thing. Everything wasn't locked down yet up here, but we were within a week or two of everything getting kind of locked down up here. So, and the toilet paper thing was already going on. The ammo thing was already going on at that point. So, I mean, we
really
just
shows you Americans' priorities when toilet paper and ammo are the two things that disappear, but you can still get SpaghettiOs on the shelf,
America.
you know?
But so we just haven't had the opportunity to go out and put a ton of ammo downrange through that gun. But she loves shooting it, and she has a lot of fun doing it. So once ammo is more affordable and more obtainable, then I foresee that we're going to shoot that gun a lot. So. So the other question I had, because I honestly don't really know the answer to this one. You've been kind of hooked in with Chad for a while now. Have you known him a long time? How did that relationship start?
I've been friends with him for close to 10 years.
Okay.
Before anything ever went viral, anything like that, he had there was a time he was working for a local, not local, but doing a TV show called My Backyard. It was on the Equestrian Channel. I think you can still watch it at midnight on
it's syndication
syndication
or reruns
satellite
or whatever
thing.
they do.
And he told me, he says, dude, I'm going to hire you one day. I want you to come work for me. And I kind of laughed him off, because I was like, to do what? And because at that time there was no touring, there was none of that. And I think we had left Texas, and we were living up in Montana. She's a nurse. She was a travel nurse. Mm-hmm. And we were up there working. Mm-hmm. Right about the time Chad's first video in the truck went viral, somewhere along in that lines. And he called me on the phone. He said, dude, where are you at? What are you doing? And I said, I'm in Montana. I'm not doing anything. He says, well, I'm going to hire you. And I said, well, when it's a full-time job, you call me. And fast forward about, I don't know, 8 or 9 months later.
No,
I don't even think it was that long.
It was more like 8 or 9 weeks later.
Yeah. He was calling me and said, dude, it's a full-time job. Come on. I'll fly you out from wherever you're at. And
to get a taste of it, basically.
Yeah, he wanted me to get a taste of going out on the road. I had already tour managed for bands in the past too. So I have 8 or 9 years of tour managing for bands and traveling and doing that whole thing, from advancing shows and executing contracts, that kind of thing. And that's why I was going with her, because I was making sure all her contracts, nursing contracts, were legit and that kind of stuff. And being
he does a great job.
Stay-at-home dad with our youngest daughter. We had one kid that's still at home. Our others are spread out. They're all military families. All three of the older kids are. We have a daughter in the Army and a son-in-law. She's there in Fort Riley, Kansas, with our oldest grandson. And then our next daughter her husband's in the Navy. They're in Oklahoma City. And then our son's down in San Antonio. He's Army. Mm-hmm. So big military kind of family. And so we had one kid. We're like, hey, let's go travel. And we'll homeschool her. And she's been homeschooled since 4th grade, and she's going to graduate next year.
Very cool. Well, and we appreciate your service and all of theirs as well. If you would pass that along to us, to them for us. I'm not a veteran, but I've got nothing but respect for those of you who are, and of course your families as well, for dealing with that. So, very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
My dad and my granddad both served. My dad got drafted in '69, but he never went to Vietnam. But my granddad was a real badass. He actually came home with a Bronze Star from the European theater. He was a half track driver for the 5th Armored Division, drove the recon half track. So he was usually about a half mile to a mile ahead of the rest of the column, just trying to find out where the German guns were, or the German armor was. And of course, they were the first ones to get spotted and shot at. So he had some stories. And they're towards the very end. He actually told a few of them, and some pretty interesting. I'd say cool, but I can't think that anything that happened in a war was actually cool, but it was cool to sit and listen to him. Knowing that whatever story he was telling, I know of course I knew he got out of there. So that was cool. And he got told before they ever flew out of the States that they weren't coming home. None of those guys expected to come home. So my granddad had a real happy-go-lucky kind of devil-may-care attitude about him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he wasn't all fun and games, but at the same time, he was living on extra time or borrowed time anyway. All those years after coming home from the war, he never expected to get those and have a family. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
So I've done a lot of the asking, a lot of the talking here. Travis or Defense Dad, either one of you have any questions or anything you want to bring in here real quick?
Well, I just happen to have family that lives down in Texas, so I'm looking for an excuse to go down there and visit them. But I also see that you guys are going live in August. Are you going to is Chad going to be live again sooner than August or not? Is there going to how soon is the governor going to allow stuff like that to happen, like the June, July shows and stuff?
We have a June show scheduled for Huntsville, Texas on June the 6th, and it is pending changing. Mm-hmm. So I foresee that moving on into August or September.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're kind of we would go do the live, like I say, we would go do the live show right now if they would let us. But that's the way they are. Everything's getting pushed. The Billy Bob show here in Fort Worth was pushed to August 27th. And that, I guess, may still be, they moved it to that date, but it could move again.
Well, they tried to move it 90 days out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope we're going back doing our live shows across the country because it's one of those things that I love to do is go across the country and see people and visit people. And she likes for me to leave and go spend some time on the road with the boys and that kind of thing.
It was cool. You guys gave a little shout out on the Prather Show. You guys gave a shout out to Nebraska because it was in the middle of a blizzard. Yeah, and you guys were there, and it was a packed house. That's what we do, man.
It was. Everybody showed up. If that had been in Texas, they wouldn't have came.
It's like we paid for a ticket. We're going. We're gonna go.
But a blizzard in Nebraska is kind of like, well, it's just another Wednesday. I mean,
it's just an annoyance to get to Walmart. It's just
we might have to lock the hubs in.
I'm wondering if that's the show that we drove back to Texas on the
that's a fun one.
Kansas and Oklahoma.
I say Kansas and Oklahoma always agree on a trip down south, doesn't it? Yeah.
The planes probably weren't leaving
Omaha,
so
might have been one of those trips.
There was November one or something. Yeah.
We've driven overnight through the night and across ice and storms and stuff like that.
I think that probably
we did about 88 or 89 shows last year. And that's a lot of cities. That's different, different cities all across. We fly a couple 100,000 miles a year. This has been both a blessing in the fact that we get to be at home for a little while and kind of get used to this. But I don't want to get used to this. I want to go back on the road and work.
That's kind of how it's been for us. My wife and I have a DJ company, and we do a lot of wedding receptions, things like that, and. We had a couple of them early on. We did 2 in January, or one was a birthday and one was a wedding. And then we were not booked. I mean, that was kind of our off season. We were expecting to kick back in April, and nothing happened in April. Nothing's happening in May. We don't have one now till middle of June is going to be our, hopefully it hasn't canceled yet or postponed yet, but hopefully everybody can can go, and there are no restrictions on groups of people by then. But I understand what you're saying. It's been nice to have our Saturday nights back to ourselves, but at the same time, that was, I can't really say it was like a full-time income, but it was definitely like having a part-time job that all of a sudden we're not going to.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of you on Facebook, and you're all dressed up and look like you're having a good time at those weddings.
We do our best. We do a lot of things that you don't always see DJs doing. So we like the reviews that we get. I mean, we go, try to do everything we can to just completely blow people out of the water. So, but that's, again, I mean, that's part of who we are too. Everything that we do, we try to do as good a job as we can possibly.
My wife just threw my Glock on the floor. Did y'all hear that?
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that was.
Well, it's got 3 built-in internal
it's got
safeties.
Like 9 safeties in it, so you should be good.
So it's okay.
I have one of those. I have a Phantom mount on my bar, and so her leg caught it when she. I'm sitting in my garage. I want to make sure that
just don't hold it up. You cannot put that on a live YouTube broadcast.
Yeah, not going to happen.
You can do it in a produced video. I've got one actually on my hip right now. It's a Glock 19 as well.
I got something fun tucked over here over my shoulder.
See, that's safe. It's just leaning.
It is. It's
but if Travis were to pick that up right now, then my channel would get the strike for it. And
absolutely not going to hold it.
Good old YouTube. We love YouTube.
Call police. Okay.
In all their infinite wisdom and their benevolency, thank you, YouTube, for allowing us to have the freedom to post what we want, except for what you say we can't.
I did my Tiger King video for Facebook, and right at the end, I decided to hold up a gun and shake it a little bit like the old Tiger King. And the video was going crazy for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And all of a sudden it went, zoom.
Yep.
And I'm like, I shouldn't have ever picked it up again. But
I'm just sitting here thinking it's a good thing it wasn't a SIG that you dropped.
Or at least not one of the old style P320s that still had the problem.
Yeah. I gave that one to my son.
Yeah, there you go. the kid that you can afford to lose.
Yeah, that's he's the one to play. He's we're looking like San Antonio PD, so we'll see.
Cool.
Kind of waiting to see. He just finished his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Waiting on law school, but they are not admitting anybody right now until I don't think they've sent out any letters or anything. So, kind of.
Yeah, I think there's still a whole lot of hurry up and wait across most of the country. And Nebraska's kind of goofy because we never went on a complete lockdown across the state, but then a lot of counties did get named in the, what do they call them, directed health measures from the governor. And the county that I live in is one of them. So I can drive 20 miles up the road and go into a restaurant, go into a hair salon, but I can't do those things in my town yet. So I guess, what are you guys seeing in Texas right now as far as things opening up and all the craziness? Is it getting better, or is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
I think it is getting better, but man, they need to get it. They really. I just feel like they need to go ahead and get it done. They're 25% occupancy at the restaurants.
Okay.
Now, if it was as bad as it is in New York, I may be going, slow things down a little bit. But we've seen their numbers have not came out like it was going to, and I just feel like we're hurting more people than we're helping it. I mean, the cure is worse than the disease.
I don't disagree with that at all. And the things that we're seeing, I mean, and the things that we're seeing, not just across our state or across our respective states, but across, all 50 states is, well, in this place they're locked down, but this place they can do whatever they want. In this place, all the businesses are closed. And in this place, then you can still go out and eat and do whatever right now. And yeah, they're not at full capacity, but you can have people sitting down at a table in a restaurant. And it's like, so that shows me right there that we've got such a diverse population, and everything is unique to each area. So it's cool to see some of these places kind of opening them back up. And like you said, in New York, that's a whole different situation than the Panhandle of Nebraska.
100%.
you know, or out in the Sandhills in Nebraska, where you've got, you know, way more cows than you've got people. Whereas, you know, in New York, the population density is within, you know, 2 square blocks is almost as many people as we have in Nebraska. So, I mean,
basically, except
is,
for
though.
I mean, that's, you know, that we don't have that density. Yeah.
The today, well, I say today, tomorrow on Chad's show, we have the salon owner that was arrested and put in jail down here for opening.
Okay.
You know, after they were told to close down, and she made all the rounds on the View. She even went on the View.
Oh wow. Good for
and,
her.
I mean, I was like, I don't know if I'd go there, but
I'd do it if they wanted me on there. I'd go on there.
And she went on there. She said,
too.
I just, you know, she wasn't trying to be a patriot. That's just, but she's becoming one for us and for the people that a voice for people that wouldn't normally get up and say, you know what, we have families to feed.
Well,
and they were depending, basically, some of these families are depending on, luckily their child, and I say their child, their teenager still had their job at the fast food restaurant that was buying the only groceries that were being brought into some homes. And that's the way we have neighbors that are like that right now, that if it wasn't for their teenage kid working at Chick-fil-A, bringing in money to buy groceries, and you think of United States, and I don't know exact numbers, but I know like us and a lot of people I know, we live paycheck to paycheck anyway. That's just the way we are. That's just the way we are. It's
just the American way.
Yeah.
And this is hurting a lot of people. Financially, and there comes a point. Now, I'll be the first to tell my mom, you have COPD, you have this, you need to stay at home, you need to, you know, don't do this, we can't come see you. She lives with my sister. She hugged my sister on Mother's Day for the first time in about 6 weeks, and they live in the same house.
Wow.
But even in the same house, they've maintained distance to make sure, because my sister and brother-in-law still, you know, their job's essential, still going to work, but they took precautions to protect my mom. And I think it's up to us as individuals in our own households to do that. But everybody, we don't quarantine people that are able,
that are healthy.
I agree with that. If a business owner wants you to wear a mask in their business, that's their prerogative.
Sure.
And I do feel like if they say, well, you can't come into Walmart unless you wear a mask, then I'll wear my Trump 2020 mask happily. And but other than that,
I've actually wanted to do, but we don't have any stores, I don't think, in our town that require customers to wear a mask. We've got some that suggest it, but I don't think even our Menards, I don't think they require the customers to wear a mask. Like I've seen some Facebook posts from some Menards where they'll make you wear a mask, and if you don't have one, they'll sell you one for $1. And people are mad about that. Well, I don't think ours is like that here in our town, but I want to get like a Lone Ranger mask and put that on and walk around the store until somebody's like, what is that? I'm like, I have to wear a mask.
Yep.
And then they'll be like, yeah, but you have to wear it across your
bandana,
nose and your mouth. And then I'm just going to untie it and drop it down and tie it back around my mouth with the eye holes right there. And
there you go.
Just to prove the point.
And I'm in agreement like that. But like I say, if I was going to visit someone that was sick and elderly, I would definitely wear a mask for their protection, not for mine.
Right.
It's about respect. Because I'm not a cruel person that wants people to die. But I don't want to give up my freedoms and my liberties to move about the country.
There's a difference between being a patriot and being an a-hole about it too. I mean, it goes back to the same thing where, you know, if you want to require your customers to wear a mask, then require your customers to wear a mask. They don't have to go into your store. Yeah, and if they want to shop at your store, then they'll put on a mask and they'll do it. But it's their choice. You're not forcing them to shop at your store. You're just forcing them to wear a mask. If they choose to shop at your store, they can make their own grown-up decision. If you require your customers to disarm before they come into your store and you post that sign up in the state of Nebraska, that carries the weight of law. It doesn't, you know, as long as that sign's there, it's already, I think it's the first offense is a misdemeanor. The second offense is a felony in our state, whether, you know, they asked you to leave or whatever. If you get caught with that in there, you're already breaking the law. So and letting people, you know, like you said, you're not cruel. You're still compassionate. And I mean, even that concept, there are some people that are just 100% hardcore, don't tell me what to do. And I'm a patriot and whatever. And I've got freedom and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And that's fine, I suppose, for the people that feel that way. But, again, I don't want to be an a-hole. I'm going to sit here and tell the whole world that I believe there's only two genders. And that if you've got, two X chromosomes, you're female. And if you've got an X chromosome and a Y chromosome, you're a male. And that's what I believe. But if I meet somebody who's got an X and a Y chromosome, and then they tell me that they want me to treat them like a female, then if they're being nice to me, I'm going to be nice to them. And I'm not going to be a jerk and specifically say, no, you're a man. No, I'm not going to be like that. Just because I believe a certain thing doesn't mean that I believe in being a jerk to people that want to believe something else. I also believe that they can believe whatever they want as long as they don't require me to change my viewpoints to fit them. I'm cool with them.
Thank you. Yes.
Whatever.
And
so
the COVID-19 is only affecting male and females. I'm not seeing any other.
You're right. Well, and here's the other thing, because this virus is so selective. So I understand that, like, you can get it at a hair salon, you can get it at a restaurant, you can get it in an office building, any of these places where people with MBAs work and places like that, but you can't get it at a gas station. You can't get it at Walmart or Menards, or at the grocery store. The virus isn't there, so it's okay to go into those places.
Yeah.
Well, they have the plexiglass shields.
What's that?
I said they have the plexiglass shields there.
That's true. That's true. I saw a fun meme earlier tonight on Facebook.
Shirt I'm wearing, essential human.
Yeah.
Go try to tell anybody that works for a living that they're not essential. And I'm talking about essential for bringing food into their home, essential for bringing the needs of
they're essential at their house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They sure are.
And their income is essential at their house.
100%.
Well, and truthfully, it's not my job. Okay. And I work in healthcare. It's not my job to know your healthcare status. It's only my job to know what the healthcare status of those that I live with, what their healthcare status is. Hence, what do I need to do to protect them? And if that means doing things like him telling his mom, you need to stay home, don't go there, don't go do this, then that's what they need to do.
Even at that, that's a suggestion that you gave to your mom. You didn't tie your mom down and force her to stay home. You said, Mom, if you know what's best for you, this is what you're going to do.
She's going to go to church as soon as she wants to.
Absolutely. I don't understand. That's another one. The fact that we actually had people shutting churches down and we told churches that they couldn't be open. I mean, I have a huge problem with such a thing. Now, let people make their own decisions. Let them go with a mask. Let them sit one family per pew and put one or two pews in between the families, but let those people still go to worship.
And let the churches
or let them do it in their car,
they were trying to shut down some churches that were doing the parking lot. In your car. And to me, that
was Easter weekend.
That's ridiculous.
It's completely asinine.
They're shutting down beaches and keeping people off the beach. And I mean, but at the same time, they're telling you vitamin D and sun and heat.
UV light will kill this virus faster than soap.
Yeah.
So just go sit in your driveway.
Yeah.
But don't go out in the street, because then you'll die and you'll give the virus to everybody else. But
right.
And that's just it. There's so many different things that are being said, put on gloves. But then if you know how you guys are healthcare workers, you understand gloves. If you put those gloves on and you touch something, then those gloves need to go in the trash and new gloves need to go back on.
Right. So they're not walking around with a box of gloves. They're walking around with the same pair of gloves.
One pair of gloves.
My favorite was when we were in Lowe's and the woman had one glove on and not on the other hand. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
I'm not really sure I
understand. Possibly go wrong there.
I saw a and I'm going to make a little fun because I saw a family of 3 in Albertsons wearing the yellow dishwashing gloves, and goggles, and a mask.
Okay.
And they're reaching and grabbing and touching everything and doing everything like normal, except when she pulled out her phone. She had to turn off so she could do it. And I'm
not a touchscreen compatible dishwashing glove.
They got like an autoclave in their living room. They throw everything in there and sterilize the box of Wheaties, and
I texted him one day and I said, "You are not going to believe what I just saw. I saw a physician get out of their car, put on what looked like scuba goggles.
Oh my God.
A mini gas mask and whatever hazmat-like material from the neck down." I'm like, and now what?
We need to I don't have a good Army surplus store in my town, but
you're a physician.
I'm just thinking maybe I get some full on mops gear.
Yeah.
And what the heck?
Attack suit, just wear that into Walmart, see what happens. Yeah.
I lived a few days at MOP level 4 back in the early 90s. And it's not any fun.
No, I can't possibly imagine it would be. Where were you? Were you in the States or?
I was Desert Storm the first time
in Kuwait.
Oh wow!
In Kuwait, in country in Kuwait. So I was on the USS Saipan. We were in the Persian Gulf. Of course, we went into Kuwait and stuff. But I was what they call desert cleanup. I got there a little bit after all the stuff went down, and we went up the Highway of Death and stuff like that. But I was no shots fired or anything like that. So. I was very blessed to serve my time and in the Marines and go a lot of places and do a lot of fun, do all the fun stuff. And,
so I am kind of curious because you were in a lot of different countries in the Marine Corps, right?
Yeah,
you went a lot of places. So
countries
32.
in 32 countries, counting the United States, in 4 years.
Wow. So
stationed with, I kept getting put with these Marine Expeditionary units that jump on the ship and take off.
There you go. Well, and we've actually got two or three Marines out there in the chat right now. I know Heavy B is one of them. Patriot in the Dark is a Marine, and I know there's a few others out there too that I'm not remembering right now. But I'm just curious because I don't know a whole lot about you guys. But the one thing I do know, and I just want to know this, which country out of all those countries that you visited, which one's got the tastiest crayons then out of all those? I
would have to say Australia has a lot of tasty flavors.
A Vegemite crayon.
There you go. Nutella, if you go to Europe,
For those of you who have smelled Vegemite, I'm sorry. And for those of you that have no idea what that is, other than inside of a Men at Work song, get a jar of Vegemite once and pop the lid off of that sucker and just take a deep whiff. It's lovely stuff, and I wish I had some on toast right now.
Oh God!
I can't. I couldn't do it. I'd love to go to Australia, but I couldn't do the Vegemite. All right. So, speaking of your shirt there. I know that you guys have a lot of different cool designs and several different places now where people can go and get some of these things. So, one like that, the Essential Human shirt is from the Chad Prather store, right?
Yeah, you can go to watchchad.com.
Okay.
And click on store, and that'll take you to everything. There's also a hyperlink under watchchad.com that takes you to Blaze merchandise that is for the podcast.
Okay.
But he has his own store, and everything in his own store, the one that says store, when you go in there, that's all the merchandise that I handle right here in my home. My third bedroom is wall-to-wall shelves, and we have, I don't know, about 20, 25 shirts of his. We also have shirts at partyfilenation.com. We have a few cool ones, kind of minor, not political. Mine are usually pretty fun. I usually something to do with drinking, something with the fun stuff. And then we have the partyfilepub.com, and we're sitting at Party File Pub. This is where we do most of our shows for the Party File Nation YouTube channel. So you can go there, and we have a Whining Women shirt. That's the only shirt that's up on that one right now.
The only one that matters.
Yeah.
So now I gave you crap about this in Omaha.
Yeah.
And you just kind of passed the buck and said, well, I got to talk to Chad. So, and he was walking out about that time. So I was yelling at him too. I don't know if you guys can tell this from seeing me here on the camera, but I'm not a little dude.
Are you a 3X?
I am a 3X at least, and there's nothing bigger than a double X on any of these websites. And I just want to, for the record, state the same thing I told y'all in Omaha. Fat guys need love too, Steve.
Yeah, I actually do remember you now.
That's it. I remember.
Now,
did he tell you about that?
And I tell her,
He actually texted me that one.
Now,
I remember because that was the bride too.
I had this shirt on at the time.
All right, go to the watchchad.com store, go under store. And I think we have at least 2 selections in a 3X right now.
I didn't find them.
I'll look and see
that or they're on shirts that I didn't care about. One or the other. The cool ones aren't.
Every time I go down to Texas, I come back a 3X because all I do is eat barbecue and Whataburger and all these delicious things I can't get back in Nebraska. We got plenty of that.
Well, we've got authentic Mexican food here.
Not Tex-Mex. So
let me tell you, John, I have a new shirt coming out for Party Foul Pub. That'll be out within the next, I would say I'll probably put it up next week. It's being designed right now. And I'm ordering 2 3X and 2 4X in that. You saw my piece of paper in there. And so I will have.
All right. Keep one back for me. I'm going to order that sucker.
Limited number of 3X and 4X. Because what happens is they cost a little more. Mm-hmm. And then I buy them and they sit on the shelf.
I'm aware.
Yeah, what is it? Great Sandhills, like husky size corduroys.
Fluffy's a word.
Mm-hmm. And I got to have inventory moving.
So what I want is a specific shirt, and I don't know if you'll make one just for me. I get it, but I want a shirt in the Party Foul Pub that says "Fat guys need love too."
I need something,
and it should start at 2XL and just go up. You can charge a couple extra bucks for it because the fat guys will buy it.
That's for all us who are good friends with Gravity. We want those big ones.
Us 3 in this panel are very much overweight, and we need that now. So
I might have to. I like that 2X and bigger. And that's fat guys need love it at 40 Foul Pub.
Come on, man! Everything's bigger in Texas.
Fat guys need love too.
Bring it.
That's right. That's right. We're always popular in the wintertime. Ladies, if you can't go wrong with a big dude. I'm just saying. I'm taking everybody.
A lot of body.
No, not Defense Dad is not taken. Travis is married. I'm married, but Defense Dad is not taken. I'm just saying though, especially in the wintertime, find yourself a big dude because we're fun to cuddle with all year long. But in the wintertime, we'll keep you warm too. I'm just saying.
Guaranteed to survive famine, which is very important these days too. So. And we're probably gonna have some red meat in the freezer too, where you can't get that anywhere. Go to Costco, you're not gonna find hamburger anywhere. But come to our freezers.
That's right.
We got you.
Well, that's a Nebraska thing.
Very fortunate. The guy that owns the radio station that I go and do the show for on Tuesdays afternoons 4 to 6 at trhr.com. Because I don't think I mentioned that. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I do a little radio show. It's Party Foul and the Outlaw, and he owns a meat market right down the road from me. And man, the price of everything has just almost doubled in the last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So speaking of big dudes, now I'm not necessarily showcasing the comment there that I'm a 5XL, but just so you know, we've got a regular person that watches these. I just wanted to throw the name out there. Boob Sweat leads to pearl necklaces because it's one of the best screen names ever.
YouTube allows it, so YouTube doesn't stop it. So.
And he actually, we haven't seen you in a while there, Boob Sweat. So welcome back. So words that I never thought I'd say on a live podcast in my life. We haven't seen you in a while, Boob Sweat. But I'm just saying, those of you that use your real name for a screen name, welcome to the party late. You don't know how YouTube works. So it's not too late. You can go change that. You can change it 3 times in 90 days.
I use my real name on most everything. Now I do add the Party Foul to everything, but I'm kind of like, you get what you see what you get, and love it.
For the most part, that is the whole purpose of a screen name, is just to keep a little anonymity. And, in Defense Dad's case, I mean, having a young one in the house, that definitely makes some sense. And, Travis, there's a lot of Travises out there. Your last name, nobody could spell it if they even knew what it was. So, but with the last name like mine, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's out there enough. People know my name. I'm not overly concerned about getting doxxed just because I'm not that big of a channel here. But if anything ever actually happened where people found my address and came to the house, I mean, just be aware that everybody that lives here with opposable thumbs actually is a good enough shot to ruin your day. So don't come here uninvited. But at the same time, we have a lot of fun. But throwing the name John out there, I mean, again, it's no secret what my first name is, and most of you probably know my last name by now too. So that's all good.
I've already forgotten, so
that's okay.
I won't scream it out.
I don't think you know my first name, much less last name.
You're Miss Party Foul. I had to rename her to Miss Party Foul.
Miss Party Foul. We need to get you a cool nickname, Tony. We need
because I want something better than that.
Well, when we were trying to figure out a good screen name for my wife, which is Sandhills Sweetheart, we were trying to figure it out. And I'm like, well, Mrs. Sandhills she didn't really want to be Mrs. Sandhills, which I do call her a lot anyway. But I'm like, well, sweetheart, what do you want it to be? Why don't we just call you a Sandhills Sweetheart since you are my sweetheart?
Yeah, I like the Sandhills Sweetheart. When I saw that earlier, I was like, oh, that's cool. I knew exactly who it was too. So.
Well, heck yeah. And as you've noticed, she's holding it down out there in the chat section while I'm running my mouth because I can't type and talk at the same time or think and type I can't think and talk. I can't do any two things at once. So while I'm running my mouth, she's doing all the typing out there and kind of holding it down in the live chat, making sure I don't miss anything super important. But yeah, so we've gone here a little bit over an hour. We're not going to keep you guys up too much later here. Does anybody out there in the live chat, do you guys have any other questions that you want to throw out here for Steve and Tony? Go ahead and just tag myself or Sandhills Sweetheart. Just put the @ symbol in front of our screen name is how you tag somebody. And on your side, on your screen, it just looks like an @ symbol in front of their name, but on our side, it highlights it so we can see that you did that. So if you have any questions, throw them out there. And then Defense Dad or Travis, do you have anything else you want to throw in there?
Party Foul, just a quick one for you. Do you guys ever have to worry about any kind of pressure from YouTube or anything like channel strikes or anything? Because a lot of us are content creators and we get slammed all the time with stuff, and we're always worrying about getting our channels taken down, especially gun people. But yeah, how do you balance that, man?
Now, as far as Party Foul Nation YouTube, no, we don't. We have been we've made sure that we've made it where we could keep everything and not crossing the lines. Now,
okay.
As far as the Chad Prather channel, the Watch Chad channel, we kind of push that line sometimes on some of the topics and subjects, and you can tell when things are what we call throttled.
Yeah,
where they're controlling who, and if you don't think somebody's controlling what is seen, when it's seen, how.
Oh, dude. I don't get notifications a lot, and I've got the bell clicked. I've been clicked on it for 6 months, and sometimes it'll pop up in my feed, and sometimes it won't. A lot of us notice that happening.
Yeah, and that's across the board, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of that kind of stuff. There are I don't know if you call it moderators or how algorithms and stuff like that kind of keep that kind of stuff to. And there's some people, because some people get away with doing whatever they want. You're like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I know. Drives you nuts. Yeah.
It's and fortunately with his, we have an entire staff of the Blaze that kind of watch that, take care of that. So it's kind of, they handle that. So I don't have to mess with any of that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
The only thing I have to worry about is what I say and whether Candace has to bleep out what I say.
Yeah.
And there's been occasion that I say a few words or choice words and I get a little scolded. And
I've noticed that here in the last couple months, the bleeping hasn't been quite as active. A few of those words are getting through now that never used to. So, I mean, which is
Well,
which is fine. Pushing that envelope a little bit. I don't think it's unhealthy.
no, I don't either.
Up to a point. I mean, depending on what it is, and we try, like I said, we try to keep it at a PG level, just because I don't want people to not be able to watch this with the kids in the room, and I don't want to embarrass myself or my wife in front of her mom, or like I said,
My mom watches everything I do, and if several
You
months
too.
my mom says, "I really don't like it when you use the S word." And I'm like, Mom, that's the one you're worried about? Like, oh, goodness. So, well, we recently, here at the first of the year, the Chad Prather Show went on to Pluto TV. So we're on Pluto TV. And so we have really had to watch our own selves, because we don't want to have all the editing and the bleeps and stuff like that. We want to be able to have a conversation and talk and do everything we do without the, I guess.
Sure. And I'll be the first one to say that those are words that I use on a daily basis, most of those anyway, but not, in front of the right people. Yes. In front of certain people. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I work in a retail location where, we clean it up in front of customers. When there's no customers, you never know what's going to be said in our store. And it's just the way it is. The same thing goes for us after we stop going live, and we're all hanging out in here afterwards. I mean, that's, whatever, people can speak freely, but I've always thought that if you can't make your point without only dropping a whole bunch of nasty words or whatever, then probably you should sit down with a dictionary and learn a few more words in your vocabulary. There's a time and a place for those. There's a time and a place not to have them. And I know that I'm not a professional at doing this, but we try to act like we are. And that's just how we conduct ourselves.
20 years ago, I married a girl that never said a single curse word. And it only took me, about 3 years, and or maybe a little bit longer, maybe 5 years.
Longer, plus you have to.
I taught her how to cuss.
I drink because of you.
Yeah.
But.
You need that on a T-shirt. There you go.
Yeah. Is that why I brought home daiquiri?
I drink because of you. So, yeah.
But I work in an operating room.
Yeah, so, I was going to say an operating room is almost exactly like a football locker room.
Really?
The way that people talk to each other, you would not believe how they talk. It's like, oh my goodness.
Oh, it's
bad. Locker room talk. It's bad. You almost have to, because you're literally cutting human flesh. You're digging into human bodies. You almost have to dehumanize the entire situation.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
And speaking of all of that and that kind of stuff, I do want to give a shout out and to 22 Kill, and you'll see Toni
Amen.
Rings every week, because man, you talk about the COVID killing people. I mean, we have veterans taking their own lives every day.
22 a day.
22 a day. 22 Kill has also extended their services to healthcare professionals, doctors, and nurses during this time.
That and our
first responders.
So that goes out to our police officers, our firefighters,
paramedics.
Paramedics.
Yep.
Anyone who needs it.
That's just a quick shout out to 22kill.com. If you know a veteran that needs, or a veteran or any of these people, first responders, that need some help, because I'm telling y'all, it's we talk about that whole dehumanizing thing and work in the operating room, but there's a lot of stress involved in that when you're dealing with life and death situations on a daily basis, no matter what the reason for it is. So it's good to have organizations like that are out there to help.
Yeah, and also for those of you who aren't veterans or first responders or healthcare professionals, and you're just going through some stuff, or you're not really sure maybe if what you're facing is anxiety or depression or any of those things, you can get a free screening at walkthettalkamerica.
Awesome.
Shoot, I put the wrong website up there. Let me take that down, because that's the wrong one. I got to change that. I got a bracelet on my wrist. You'd think I'd know what the heck to type, but I don't. WTTA.org is the right one. So you can go get that take that free mental health screening. It doesn't go anywhere. They don't give it to anybody. They don't look at it. It's just a questionnaire, and you answer a bunch of questions, and it tells you if you know, you're in the how do I want to say it?
High risk category.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
if you're in a high risk category for anxiety, depression, they've got a bunch of different conditions that you can actually answer the questions for.
And let's
get it
face
checked
it,
out.
COVID has, you know, you already suffered from depression. You already suffered from whatever. And the fact that it's forcing us to isolate ourselves, yeah, it's worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's exasperated the condition in which you are already, because I'm pretty okay being, you know, isolated on a
Mhm.
normal basis.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have to go out and do like a lot of people that I know of. I don't have to have that social interaction on the level that I know a lot of people do. You know, but
Not naming names here.
no,
Yeah,
not
no
naming
names,
names
pointing
or saying it
fingers.
didn't. But truthfully, you know, outside of, I mean, I'm very blessed. I get to go to work every day, but it's like, it's come to the point. It's like,
Yeah,
I want to go out and do what I normally did before all of this.
Yeah, and a quick note back on the, you know, our veterans, our heroes, our warriors and stuff. The last thing that any warrior wants to do is go ask for help. But let me tell you, the help's there, and people need it.
Mhm.
And I've had to reach out for help in my own life at different times, and I direct everybody I know to 22 Kill, because I know those guys, and they'll take good care of you.
Well, and even for those of us who aren't veterans, the last thing that most of us want to do is ask for help or even admit that there's something wrong.
Yeah, especially
I mean, depending on what the wrong thing is. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Casting Crowns. They're one of my all-time favorites.
Mhm.
But a long time ago, when they only had a couple albums out, they had an album that came with a DVD, and some of the stuff that was in that DVD was the lead singer Mark Hall was kind of telling the stories of how some of these songs came about. And the song Stained Glass Masquerade that they have, he said, growing up in the church that he grew up in, it was kind of weird because they never had anybody have any problems. People got sick. Like every week they were praying for, broken arms and livers and hearts and strokes and aneurysms and all this kind of stuff and cancer. But that was the only thing that ever happened in his church. They never had anybody have marital problems or have, struggling with any kind of addictions or things like that. Have to deal with how to reconcile Christianity with homosexuality. None of those problems ever happened in his church. And I think most of us that have a background in a church kind of understand where he's coming from there.
Mhm.
We don't want anybody thinking that we don't have it all together.
Yep.
Whether you go to church or not, most of us feel that way within our communities, within our peer groups, within our neighborhoods. We don't want to be the people that don't have it all together. And so asking for help and just saying, letting the world know that there's something wrong that we don't have control over, that's scary for all of us to do.
Yeah.
It's not just those of you that were willing to defend our country and defend our borders. It's all of us. We all can relate to that. So if more of us could admit to the world that we have this stuff going on, and more people can see that and relate to it, maybe we can all get past the fact that who cares that you've got stuff going on, I got stuff going on, he's got stuff going on, she's got stuff going on, we all got stuff going on. And the only way that some of us are going to get through it is if we help each other out.
Amen.
And that's what all of these organizations are about. The stuff that those of you who are veterans, have seen and been through, I cannot wrap my head around. And as much as I would love to express my appreciation and try and help out the veterans that are going through stuff, I know that I'm not equipped to do it. Number one, because I don't have the training. And number two, I can't understand what they're facing. And they can tell me stories that I'm not going to relate to. And I'm not the guy that they want to talk to. And I get that. but I do have such a love for America's veterans, for the country in general, and that flag hanging behind you in general. You know, even though I'm not a veteran, I mean, there are a lot of us who still love that flag every bit as much as you do. We just didn't do the same thing about it that you did. But you know, the 22 Kill is such a great website because of you know, that's where it got its name, because 22 kill themselves every day. That are veterans, and that's actually where the name Studio 22 came from as well, right? It was from that same number.
That's one of the influences on that is, yes.
So, and for those of you that don't know, Studio 22 is where the Chad Prather Show happens 4 days a week. So, well, it comes to us 4 days a week. I think
your phone out.
The miracles of modern technology, and we still have to share a set of earbuds to get everybody to.
Because I'm too cheap to buy a second pair or a splitter.
Well,
I am frugal.
It's not even that. You didn't know you needed it until you were logged in here tonight. So I get it. No, that's cool.
It's almost hard for me to do anything without her these days. It's because we do have so much fun together. And she's actually sat in the hot seat on the Chad Prather Show. You have to go back and look at that one.
I saw that one.
That was an insane one. That was
she sat in the hot seat, but I guarantee Steve was the one that was wiggling in his seat all day, wondering what Chad was going to ask Toni.
I was because she had left work and she had stopped by the studio, and he's like, "No, you're sitting in the seat." I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" He didn't give her a choice.
Well, I don't know if I've got connections in high enough places, but if I ever get to Dallas, I'm going to look you up and see if you guys are in town, because I would love to. I don't want to be in the hot seat. I just want to come to the studio if you
can come sit at Party Foul Pub at the studio.
I'm down. I would love that.
I have that kind kind of pull, and
I would love to do that.
If there's one more, I'll drive them down there. I got family we can stay with. So.
That's right. No, honestly. Full disclosure, Steve, I only have you on here tonight so that I can get to Joseph, because I really want in at the Texas Gun Experience. So.
Yeah, well, you can come in, you can walk in the door with me, and I have like all access. So,
dude, it's all about who you know.
They kind of let me do whatever I want around there, and they're very good to us and take care of all of our shooting needs and things like that. And
very, very awesome. All right. Well, let's kind of wrap these things up here. So, Steve, I just want to give you a chance to list off all the places where people can find you. The YouTube, any of the social media.
All right.
I know it's a list. I know.
I'll start at the top, and we'll get.
But just go down. So the people, and we'll go slow, because I'm not going to type all these out. But maybe I can get Sandhills Sweetheart to type these out, these websites, or the name of the channel at least to look at.
She's doing a great job.
She is doing a great job. So,
this doesn't work without her.
The top platform that I get to be on every day, and I'm very blessed and fortunate that I even get to sit on the studio with Chad Prather's Chad Prather Show on Blaze TV. It's everywhere podcasts are available. You can the Chad Prather Show. We're on Pluto TV 4 nights a week, Monday through Thursday. Outside of that, you can find me on Party Foul Nation YouTube, and that's where I'm at. I'm about 4 nights a week on there, and some 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week in some form or fashion. And Matt Locke wants me to do videos on Sunday. He's like, "Man, Sunday is kind of lagging. You should just do a video when you're hanging out." And we do things. We do all during this entire pandemic. We've done our crawfish bowls. We've done all our barbecues and stuff like that. And he's like, "Man, you should do a video while you're doing that." And I'm like, every now and then I want to set the camera down and just kind of
you got to have time to just nice, be you
for 13 hours.
I did Sunday on Mother's Day. I slept for like 13 hours in the lounge chair and in the living room, and she was like, she would wake me up while I was snoring.
Well, it was louder than the TV.
So partyfoulpub.com, you can go in there. That's kind of the party. That is, we're sitting at Party Foul Pub tonight doing this. As you can see, we're filling the wall up with stickers.
Yeah, there's more
trying
coming.
to move my head.
You have that PO box. You can, if anybody wants to throw their sticker up on our wall, we're game. As long as it's not lewd, crude, or socially unacceptable. It can be borderline. You can't
I'll
really
type
read
that
them
out as you say it, and I'll type it out. What's the address?
You're going to make me say it.
Send it
I'm going to have to look at my phone to do this. It's PO box.
PFN. I'm just going to put spaces because if I hit return, it's going to.
Okay.
Oh, she's already got it. Okay, so
does she have
if you want to
address,
send stickers, send them to Party Foul Nation, PO Box.
PO Box 151013. Arlington, Texas, 76015. That is from memory. Look at that.
So you've got a couple stickers that look like this coming. Because I threw an extra sticker in there for Toni, so you can do whatever you want with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I figured it's a family thing. I get it. And then there's also all right, check in the comments, Steve, if you would make sure that looks right.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Except for I think that we are missing a zero.
Okay, 151013, Arlington, Texas 76015. So we need a 15013.
A little business card sized refrigerator magnet that I threw in there for you guys. So,
well, look at you, nice.
Yeah, we're all about the swag. That's the thing about the gun people on YouTube and whatnot. I mean, you go to SHOT Show, there's just swag everywhere.
I've been to SHOT Show like twice. I don't know if that makes me a gun nut or not, but I sure have a great time out there.
I want to go. I want to make the contacts. I don't care as much about making videos about the new products. I want to go meet everybody so I can, like I said, just expand this podcast into so much more. So there it goes. That's the right one.
Yeah.
6-digit PO box there. So send your stickers, send your swag to Party Foul Steve or Party Foul Nation at that address there in the chat, guys. Oop, there's Travis P11 sticker.
Bring it on.
Hey, yay!
I like it. SHOT Show was we've been out there a couple of times and got to go do the Sick Range Day, and I was out there with the Undertaker and a couple of other guys, and all the non-line apparel guys are all friends, and man, just blessed to get to go hang out with those guys and have the Undertaker buy you dinner. It's kind of nice.
That's pretty cool. I've heard that he's a pretty cool guy.
It was, and then
what's his name? His name's Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark Galloway. I got to hang out with Mike. I spent a whole evening with Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. Okay. That was probably the coolest. And then the other guy, who was the other guy? He's like the CrossFit champion, like
Matt Frazier.
Oh yeah,
Matt Frazier.
His name. CrossFit champion of the world, like I don't know, a half a dozen times. Got to hang out with him out there at SHOT Show.
Oh no, not just hanging out. You FaceTime.
Oh yeah, I FaceTime her, and she was in bed. She was not happy with me.
I'm like
that's her idol.
And he's like, "Do you know who this is?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's Matt."
So what you're saying is, Toni, that next year you're going to SHOT Show too.
Yeah.
I want to get out there. I don't know if we're going to make it this next year or not, but I want to get out there. So we'll see what happens.
Will they let us out there in groups that big?
Well, by next January, maybe.
I bet we're okay to go back out there in January.
I hope so.
Yeah, I bet so.
I
bet so. Say,
a total huge gun enthusiast, by the way.
What was that?
Matt Frazier is.
Oh yeah,
like he's
well, who's not? Like all the cool people are. I think
exactly.
If you're not a gun enthusiast, then I just don't think you're all that cool. Or you just. I shouldn't say that. If you're anti-gun, I don't think you're all that cool. If you're not a gun enthusiast, I think that you're just not all that cool yet. But there's still
there's hope for you.
I don't require people to like what I like to be friends with them. So I am going to throw this comment up though. Rich White wants to know. Speaking of the Undertaker, were you and Triple H separated at birth?
Yeah, I've heard the whole Triple H thing for several times. That's not new to me. I wish I was built like that, but I'm not. I've got granddad vibe. I am totally. I'm sitting here in a CrossFit gym as we speak. I mean, I get an eighth of the garage for Party Foul Pub. The rest is a CrossFit gym for her, and I don't use it.
Well, and I don't know. You can't really tell from the angle of my camera, but I've just got a little corner here that I have kind of claimed as my own. And then, I mean, you can see Edward taking a nap back there on top of the file cabinet.
I saw him back there.
And Bella, the Siamese, she actually owns the house and she lets us live here because we have jobs and we can pay for cat food. She can't be bothered to do that. So, I mean, it's definitely not my house and it's not my office. I came in here late and got my own desk and everything now, but you know, I'm definitely the late one to the party. So I get you. I hear you. Cool. All right. So on social media, are you Party Foul Steve most every
Party
place?
Foul Steve everywhere. You can find Party Foul Steve on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. But I really want everybody to go subscribe to the Party Foul Nation YouTube channel. Watch a couple of shows. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. I don't, you know, but go at least subscribe and try it out.
If you don't like it, just stop getting the notifications, but leave the subscription up there. I mean, that just helps with, because you're knocking on the door of what, 1,500 now?
I'm not above begging. I'm begging you to go subscribe to the channel because I'm about to hit 1,500. I mean, I know you're up there about 8. You're almost at about 2,000. Okay.
Yeah. Well, but like I said earlier,
my people came over tonight and subscribed. I hope that's the case. I want them to. I'm gonna request that they do.
You Party Foul Nation people, I sure appreciate you coming over here. I really do. Yeah, we've been sitting at about 1,780 roughly for the last 6 months or so. We really haven't gained a whole lot in the last 6 months. I think maybe I've gained 50 people in that amount of time.
Isn't it funny how you get to a certain number though you're looking forward to a number and you stall out? You're like, I'm right there.
Yeah, and you know, that's again, it's just a matter of, you know, trying to grow the brand and whatnot, and everybody doesn't just balloon overnight. I mean, we all know the few channels that have, but they're the exception, not the rule. And I get it. I mean, we're not a huge podcast. I always say we're not a big podcast yet. I mean, we're growing, we're getting there, and we're going to be there one day. But the main thing is, you know, to just make contacts like you. I mean, I reached out to you there on Facebook, and you didn't know who I was, and I'm like, hey, here's a link to my channel, and if you want to be part of this, cool. And if not, I get it, you're busy. And it took us 6 months or so, but thanks to the virus, you're not on the road all the time.
And I had to vet you. I spent 6 months vetting you and making sure that, you know, this was legit. It was not. I wanted to make sure your audience was bigger than mine. I wanted, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. I don't know that I've ever been the person who had the bigger audience and I brought somebody in that, you know, I'm
on a huge platform. I mean, I get to go sit in front of a couple million people every day.
Yeah.
But my own platform is nothing. So it's, but I've been blessed to be able to do that. And I'm having a ball doing it, having fun. And I take every day, you know, one day at a time, and let's just do this and have fun. And I want to open this country back up and let's get back to work.
Absolutely, yes. All right, one more time. I'm going to drop the link to the Party Foul Nation YouTube channel right there in the chat. So go click that link and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, I would like to hit 1,500 tonight. We're that close.
How far away is he? Let me see. You know what? I got it right here. I'm going to click on it right here. And you're at you're at 1.49 thousand now. So yeah, we're almost to 1,500. Guys, let's get him to 1,500 tonight.
Hey, what does that say? I don't have my glasses on.
Well, don't shove it in my eyes.
Like, I could put my grandpa glasses on. I am a grandfather of 3.
Hey, you have 1,493.
1,493. So we need 7 more subscribers.
We need 10 more.
Just for 10 more because somebody might drop out.
We're not going to stop at 1,500. We need
Thank you, Mitch White. Thank you, New York Catcast.
Okay.
Thank you, Ghost Tactical. Hey, I'm going to thank everybody.
They like that. They like that. It's cool when you shout them out.
Yeah.
Ghost out there.
Shout them out versus shouting at them.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Apparently, Ghost has.
She says I talk too loud. I'm half deaf. I have to talk loud.
I understand, and I'm leaning into my mic right now too, so it's even louder. But yeah, Ghost has
conservative. I'm with you right there on the poor conservative.
Ghost Tactical says he bought his subs, dude. Where'd you get? Where can I order?
Where do you buy subs at?
No kidding.
Is there like a sub store?
It's not hard to do. Once you start getting lots of subs, you start getting offers all the time in Gmail from all these companies. We'll give you 25,000 overnight. You know, It is possible.
Yeah, and then YouTube
20,000
goes through
overnight.
scrubs them.
Ridiculous. You'd be surprised how many channels grow
Couple
because
times a year, YouTube
or
will
their
go through and
Instagram subs
They'll
multiply
knock out all the
exponentially.
robots and stuff like that.
No, yeah, it's
pretty much, yeah,
ridiculous.
that's all they are is just bots
Yeah.
that they.
I mean, I will take a couple of bots. It's
Yeah.
like,
I don't really.
All right, Austin Powers.
Yeah, fembots.
Machine gun Jubblies.
Oh
Cool.
man.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this. I said that a half hour ago. We're gonna.
Are you really cutting us off?
Well, no, dude.
Yeah, no,
you
that's
want to
fine.
keep going? I don't mind. I don't have to be anywhere till 9
Some of our
o'clock in the morning.
podcasts go 8 hours. I mean, we're ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
I'm usually I started cutting all our stuff, even our Monday night stuff, off at an hour because her and I could sit and talk at the kitchen table for 2 hours, 3 hours, and not even miss a beat.
What most people who aren't in the panel don't realize is that once we stop this broadcast, I mean, I might sit in here for another half an hour talking to everybody that's in the panel anyway.
And you and I talked for almost an hour before the podcast.
Yeah, actually, my original thought was to get you in here, make sure that you don't have any issues logging in, and then if you had stuff to do, go do it. And then we just sat there and ended up talking the whole time. So
no, I cleared out today. Normally, I go and do. Chad's been doing a Texas Tuesday music deal, and he went live on his Facebook and stuff like that tonight. And I usually do that with him on Tuesday, but I blocked all that out and said, dude, you got to record your own stuff. You have to bring your own mics and stuff. I'm going to go do this podcast. So
I feel
it's
really,
totally,
really special.
No, I did it. It was totally selfish reasons. It was for myself. So.
That's okay. That's okay. Because if I can hook onto your coattails, I don't mind riding on them. So.
No, it's I always feel like the podcasts that are going are a sharing community. And I've been on several other podcasts, and they're always been, hey, and we kind of share both ways.
And that's what it's all about. And that's kind of what I guess it's not a requirement, for the people that I reach out to and ask to be a guest on the podcast. But, it's always nice to find somebody that gets it and is willing to help cross promote. We've got a few people that I've gotten to know a little bit through doing this. That really aren't big names unless you're in the 2A community. But, we've had a few people as guests on the podcast that are really big in the 2A community. And anytime there's a big rally, anywhere in the country, or, GRPC and places like that. I mean, when there's a list of speakers, they're on the list of people that get up and speak in front of crowds. Yeah. And I mean, we've had a few folks like that on here, and, it's cool just to be able to pick up my phone and drop a text message to like Rob Pincus or Mike Sodini or some of those guys. I mean, they're really cool. Speaking of those two guys, they are two of the founding members of Walk the Talk America. And I don't know if you're familiar with that website, Steve.
On the website a couple of times, so I was going to look into that. And I just I haven't. I may have before, but I'm going to.
That is definitely, if you have any kind, and I don't know how much that you can put a bug in Chad's ear, but that's an organization that he may want to look into and invite somebody to come and be on the podcast at some point or on his show at some point, just to get the word out about Walk the Talk America, because what they're doing is trying to bridge the gap between mental health and gun ownership. And, make it to where it's not a stigma to have mental health issues as a gun owner, because so many gun owners don't want to admit to having these issues or facing these problems because they're afraid they're going to get their guns taken away.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you 100%. I have several friends that are that way. They're and I know them on a personal level, and I know they're no harm to anyone or anybody else, but they have a history or they have some past that they're afraid to seek any kind of medical help or anything like that because of that.
Yep. Okay. So it looks like with the push and the fact that we're not afraid to beg for subs, we've got you to 1,500. She says.
Hey, that is awesome. I can't thank y'all enough for having me on, and thank you for helping me get my subs up there. And I hope y'all enjoy. There's something on our channel for everybody. I mean, we're 5 nights a week, a different show. And some of them are 15, 20 minutes. Some are an hour, hour and a half. I mean, the best show outside of Whining Women on Thursday nights is me and Matt Locke from the Matt Locke Show and Lock and Load. We get on there Friday night and we hang out and we drink beer and we talk about local breweries and that kind of stuff. We don't talk politics. We just kind of we just kind of talk man stuff and guy stuff. And this Friday night, we're doing a crawfish bowl right here in our driveway.
Awesome.
And we'll have our 10 friends and under. Last weekend, we were really close to pushing that limit on how many people could gather, but no one called the police on us. And I can say, after looking at my neighborhood watch blog, they
so weird.
No, because they called the police on some kids hanging out at the park. And I'm talking like, the neighborhood kids, they're still riding their bikes and playing outside as they should. They're out there getting dirty. They're doing what kids are supposed to do.
Oh, they're building immunity.
Yeah, they're building immunity.
Yes,
and somebody calls the police on them and tries to brag about it on that thing, and she got jumped on like crazy on that blog.
And I'm sure she never goes to Walmart, never goes to Kroger, never goes and gets gas and cleans her hands after she touches the pump,
Yeah.
See, I thought the 10 friend limit was you, your neighbor, and 10 beers. I thought that's what the 10 friend limit is. So,
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
We've, for the last 2 months, we've opened our garage up on Friday nights because we can't go to breweries and do beer for brunch like we normally do. We've been doing it live from right here, and we invite our friends over and eat and drink and be merry.
So I know we're not going to put this up on the live part of the show tonight, but I need that address then. Friday nights, you said what time?
We go live at 7 p.m. on
All right.
Nation.
All right.
So
And
we just have a good time. We do it for about an hour, and it's just fun.
You've gone close to 2.
Yeah, we've done a couple of nights where you don't want us going 2 because we're drinking those 9%, 10% alcohol. Let me tell you, it goes south. At 45 minutes, it goes south.
Yeah, that's why. Well, you can't tell. This is water. I'm only drinking water on mine because
I'm on the Enchanted Rock vodka.
You are.
There you go.
So Enchanted Rock.
We probably should wrap it up
deal.
then, because that's like the third one I've seen you have there. So we'll.
Let's go before this turns into one of my shows.
All righty. Well, real quick, I'm going to let Defense Dad, anything that you want to say or any plugs you want to make on your channel when we wrap it up here, go ahead.
Hey, I just want to, let you know, I appreciate the invite. I always feel like kind of even though I'm easily probably the oldest person on the panel tonight, I always feel like the new kid on the block on my little channel. So I appreciate being on and the help you and Travis have given me, and just keep it going. Thanks for everybody for having me on tonight.
Yeah, you betcha. Well, and it's the same thing. I mean, if it wasn't for Travis, I wouldn't have a channel and have videos and do anything live either. So he took a chance once and let me in on his panel, and then I apparently didn't embarrass myself too badly. And, here we are. And I know that Travis kind of got here the same way back once upon a time. So, it's just kind of cool to see how this community grows. And I mean, gun people are gun people, whether we're on YouTube and social media, or just getting together in person at the range or whatever. I mean, the gun community really is welcoming. I know that the media tries to paint us otherwise, but if you're not sure about getting into shooting, just go to a range. and yeah, there's going to be a few people at every range that maybe are jerks. Every crowd's got one. Okay. But for the most part, people are very, very welcoming. And they're very generous. If you want to, try something out, they'll let you shoot one of their guns. And usually it's their ammo. They're not requiring you to give them any cash for, the magazine full that you shot up or anything like that. I mean, it's really a friendly community to be part of. So if you've never thought about shooting or if you've never shot and you've kind of thought about it, go find a local range. If you're in that Dallas area, obviously Texas Gun Experience is the range that Steve's going to recommend. If you're in the Omaha, Lincoln area, I mean, we've got some good ones to recommend. Reach out to any of us. So make sure that those of you watching, if you haven't subscribed to Defense Dad, you need to do that. Same with Travis P11. And then if you haven't subscribed to Party Foul Nation, again, get out there and do it. So all right, Travis.
Matlock's going to be so proud when he wakes up in the morning and sees 1,500. So,
well, Lori was here a while ago, but I don't see her right now. So,
well, she's got an early job, and she does not have an easy job. She
Gotcha.
works
Nope.
she works in human resources.
Yeah,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
HR. It has
Yeah.
not been a fun couple of weeks for her.
I can't
Oh, wow.
imagine. No.
no.
My company's HR department's running ragged too, and we're open. I mean, yeah. I work in a cell phone store, not in a company you guys have heard of because we're not nationwide. But yeah, it's crazy. So all right, Travis, anything you want to wrap up with? And
Yeah,
of
real
course,
quick.
you may have a plug that you want to drop there.
Steve, before you take off, I want to ask you about a couple breweries down in your area to see if you guys have gone there after we get done here. Just real quick. And then, because I love these places when I go down there, they're my favorites. And then anybody that's a sub to me, make sure you guys go check out Chad Prather, Party Foul Nation, Prather. Yeah. Party Foul Nation, make sure you guys subscribe. And also Graham Allen. That's another one of my favorite channels. I love watching Graham Allen. Started watching him last summer, and he's kind of, what brought me into you guys too, along with Sandhills. But otherwise, check out my channel, Travis P11, and make sure you subscribe to everybody on the panel tonight. I appreciate the invite. It's awesome being here, and it's good to talk. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And then one more name that I'm going to drop out there too is Sarah Gonzalez. If you haven't checked out her stuff on YouTube, I mean, she's got 5 days a week, the news and why it matters. And in a small panel there sitting around in the studio, again, talking about the latest in news. Sometimes it's a day late or whatever, but you're going to get the latest headlines, and then you're going to get people's opinions on such a thing too. So it's not just here's the news, but here's what I think about it. And, we don't expect everybody to think the same as what we do when we voice our opinions on these things, but we do expect you to think. That's all I expect is you don't have to agree with me, but just think about it. And here's what I think about it. And you can decide if you like what I said or if you didn't like it. That's up to you. So, all right. Yeah, he's going to do that after we aren't live though. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to get into another whole 45 minutes to an hour.
I was going to see if they've tried these places. Kind of get.
We're gonna pour the drinks and
heck yeah.
We have some time off.
I should make that like a Patreon only thing where we have a different link to it or something.
You should charge for that. And I mean, if somebody wants to sit around and pay $5 or $10 to listen to us just BS off air,
yeah, heck yeah, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That'd be cool.
No, I can tell you from talking to Steve beforehand and since we went live, and I can vouch for Travis and Defense Dad as well. I mean, who you see when we're live is who you see when we're not live too. We don't put on a different face. We don't act like we're any different. I mean, okay, when there's a camera on, yeah, I mean, I may act just a tad bit different. And of course, when we're live, I do clean up my language.
Sometimes I'm expected to get kind of like be over the top, and I'll do that because I think when you're on TV and when you're on that, you almost have to amplify yourself, whatever your personality is. It just takes it up a notch.
Well, and at the same time, I mean, everybody, especially on Chad's show, I mean, everybody in there kind of has their own little niche as far as what they bring to the table and what they bring to the show. So, I mean, even the people that work behind the scenes have got cameras on them in that studio.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, the producer, what is Mark's actual title? What does he do? He's running all the sound.
He runs everything.
He's the tech guy.
I mean, he's the tech guy, but he runs all the cameras and which camera angle and the volumes and the mics and stuff like that. So
the people sitting in the Party Foul pub. I mean, whoever's in the hot seat, and of course Chad himself. I don't know. I think y'all could do it without Chad, but the rest of the people are very essential humans in that studio. So
yeah. We couldn't do anything without Candace telling us what to do because she kind of
honestly, Candace and
that
Mark.
impression.
Let me tell you, and
if
Candace
y'all did not have Candace and Mark, y'all would be like.
Candace is like 23 years old, y'all, and she runs the show, and she's a great producer. She's very good at what she does.
Yep. That's
I mind
so
my
awesome.
P's and Q's around her.
You guys are blessed to have the team that you have in there. That is 100%. For sure. So all right. So anything that you either one of you two, Steve or Tony, want to throw out before we wrap things up?
Hey, just go over to partyfoulpub.com and order a Whining Women t-shirt so I can pay her back because I borrowed the money to have those made, and I'm only 4 shirts away from having those paid for.
From breaking even? Cool.
Breaking even.
There you go.
All
And
right.
I'm
Hey,
like, man,
you know what?
I spend my whole life trying to break even.
We pulled together and got the YouTube subs up there over 1,500. I think we can pull together and
4 shirts.
and get 4 more shirts ordered before the night's over. So I want to hear tomorrow. I want a text message from Steve tomorrow saying that he woke up to those shirts being sold, y'all. So get out there, especially you ladies, and order a Whining Women shirt.
Oh, it's an awesome shirt too.
And you know, I just want to let you guys
shirt.
know that the 2A community or our group of friends that we all know each other through YouTube here, they kind of have their own ladies group as well. They call it Gun Gals, and that's another YouTube channel. You can go to Gun Gals as the YouTube channel and check them out. But Tony's going right now. They'll let you in the group, and one of the founding members is in somewhere in East Texas. I know that's still 3-4 hours from you, but that guy's wife is her screen name, and she's over there somewhere about an hour outside of Houston, if I remember right.
Like my neck of the woods anyway, so that's where I was born and raised, right outside
Wait
of
a
Houston.
minute. So what's it called?
Gun Gals.
Hmm.
You know, like gun guys, but you know, the fairer sex, the Gun Gals.
Got it. Yeah, the better sex.
Hey, K-Dub's still here. And thank you, K-Dub, for hanging out with us. United States Air Force veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And he flew the fighter jets, and he flies for a company that flies all over the world these days. He's probably been in China more than anybody I know.
Somebody who lives there.
All right, let's see. Oh, nope, that's not the right channel. I know they've got a channel up now. I'm trying to find it, and I'm subscribed to it, and I can't even find it here. There it is. Here it is. All right, so let me copy the link. I'm going to drop this in the chat too.
Perfect.
For those of you that want to check out the Gun Gals channel there on YouTube, there it is. Yeah, that guy's wife, and then another lady named Gunpowder Beauty. Kind of co-formed that, but they've got a few other additions into the ranks now, and yeah, go check that out. So
There it is.
all right, well, we're going to
Perfect. Thank you.
you betcha. All right, so we're gonna go through the list. Like I said, Sandhills Sweetheart writes down everybody that was commenting out there in the live chat, so we get to go through at the end of the night and thank everybody for being here. So let me take a drink and wet my whistle. All right, so out there in the chat, thank you tonight for joining us. Kingpin, Mystic Guns, Frankie's Guns and Glitter, Calaveras 32 Special, of course Tony Powell and Party Foul Steve, Armament and Axes, Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy, K-Dub was out there, Lori Locke, Carolina EDC Reviews, G23, Darcy Sorensen, Duke Liberty, Gun Loving Grandpa, Gizzard Gary, Sis Howe, Tim Donahue, C4 Defense, Casey Whitworth, Rich White, Agorizer, New York Outcast, Keith Gregory, Pat Hirsch, Jacob S., the Heavy B channel. What's up, Heavy B? I haven't seen you in forever. Unknown User, Vanessa Kitty, Sandra, Seven Wonders, William Keller, Blitz. Thanks for that. Well, not really a super chat. It was a super sticker, I think it was. Patriot in the Dark, Kinky Sphincter, Rebecca H. Yes.
Got it.
Guy that comments, Mike, it was like emptiness. I haven't seen that name before. Boob Sweat, Ozzy Osbourne, Ghost Tactical, The Poor Conservative. And if we missed anybody, it's because you were not commenting enough. So make sure that you drop those comments next week when you tune in. I do want to mention next week we're going to go back to the basics a little bit. We've got a whole bunch of new gun owners in this country, and that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are new in the pro 2A mindset. So just because people own a gun doesn't make them pro Second Amendment. So next week we're going to get back into just talking about the different gun legislation, and I think, for lack of a better title, we're just going to call it gun legislation for dummies next week. But we're just going to talk about some of these basic laws and why they're bad and why people should be fighting against some of these things. Not only the ones that are proposed, but even some of the ones that are already out there, like assault weapons bans and universal background checks and things like that. We're just going to kind of go back into the basics of, the meat and potatoes of why these can be detrimental to a free society. And it's not just the fact that we value our guns over, your baby's lives. It's because things like this can erode freedoms, and we've seen that lately with the, all the COVID lockdown. We've seen a lot of freedoms get not even eroded, because erosion takes a long time. We've seen a lot of freedoms get just completely snapped off and broken, real quickly that shouldn't be. And so that's what we're going to get into next week. On behalf of Defense Dad and Travis P11, on behalf of Sandhills Sweetheart and myself, and of course, on behalf of Steve and Toni and Party Foul Nation, thank all of you for being here tonight. We don't have a chat or a podcast without all of you. So you really are the reason that we do this. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of people getting together. We just will have a Zoom meeting because we'd just be talking to ourselves without all of you. So, or we could go for 45 minutes, I guess, at least, and then it would end us. So thank you very much. Catch us next week. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed to all of these channels, please go do so right now. And in the meantime, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.